What's up, everybody? It's Joey G for the weekly Monday Night Raw. Right before Monday Night Raw, what's going on? Here's a free lesson. It's Joey G. I'm here and I'm going to be all over the place for a little bit. Just, little shoot. Talking about, the WWE and the world of professional wrestling and just about everything Joey G is into. You know what I mean? I know I do my play-by-play on Raw and it ain't that great. I know I got a cringy voice. You know what I mean? And somebody leaves me a comment to shut the F up. And I'm trying to watch my cursing, you know what I mean? Because I'm taking this seriously. And, this is my life. And, I eat, sleep, and shit wrestling, I'm trying to watch the cursing, but I do. And, I'm a big fan of wrestling, and I ain't no little kid. People think, I'm a kid, and I don't know. Listen, anytime, any place, anybody ever wants to debate me on professional wrestling, this is about anything. Politics, anything that, football, you know what I mean, NFL, I'll murder you. I mean, that's the bottom line. But I'm just here to talk about a range of things, so really it's just keep giving you all a free lesson, you know what I mean? And what I loved the other night was on SmackDown, is when finally, two fan favorites, because I don't like the word faces, baby faces, I like heels, I don't like faces, baby faces, no. What do you call it? When finally, Dean Ambrose, one of my favorite wrestlers, my upcoming favorite wrestler, the future, I think, of the WWE. I mean, he's got it written all over him. I mean, he's a ticking time bomb. The guy's friggin' amazing, Dean Ambrose. For all you pretend fans, John Moxley's his name. The Mox from the Indies. That's the real indie wrestler. That was the man who made the Indies to go watch. And I've seen him wrestle in the Indies. But anyway, on SmackDown, when he said, Daniel, you're just a turd. And then Dolph Ziggler, a guy who I still consider a male cheerleader from the Spirit Squad, but he is a good wrestler. He's a good seller. He can sell moves better than Ric Flair. Kind of reminds me of two of my favorites, Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels, but not as good. But Dolph Ziggler said, I really don't agree with that lunatic that much, but Daniel, you are a turd. That was great. That was just great. Finally, and Daniel Bryan was just sitting there like, you know what I mean? Finally. And I think the fans finally realized, all right, here are two guys that we like too. I was at the Royal Rumble, and they were the three favorites. Daniel Bryan was number one, Ziggler was number two, and Ambrose was number three. They were the three favorites in the Philadelphia crowd. Anybody but Roman Reigns. So for all, like I said before on tape, anybody who thought everybody in Philly was for Daniel Bryan. I was at the Royal Rumble, okay? Me and my cousin Buddha. And we didn't want Daniel Bryan. The only person I wanted out of them three was Dean Ambrose. I wanted Randy Orton to come back and win it. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted. I thought The Undertaker was going to return and win it. But everybody there didn't want Daniel Bryan. There were a lot of Dolph Ziggler fans there. There were a lot of Dean Ambrose fans. And yeah, there were people that did want Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns wins it, there's a sign right in the front row. Roman will reign. And speaking of Roman Reigns, the big thing in that promo Paul Heyman cut, and you can see it on my videos, was great last week. On Raw. Paul Heyman is just such a great mouthpiece. My friend Kurt asked me a question, and he said, because he's not a real big wrestling fan, he's a big sports fan. He's a Cowboys fan, so. And I'm an Eagles fan. He's from Philadelphia, too, but I love him. He's my good buddy. And he said to me, what's wrong with Brock Lesnar? Can't he talk? Is he retarded? And he's like, or is it an act? And I said, no, it's just Paul Heyman's just great on the mic. And you got to think back to when, I said it when I was doing the play-by-play last week. When Punk and Heyman were together, it was great because they both could talk. But Punk didn't need Heyman because, Punk's just as good on the mic. But that promo Paul Heyman gave last week, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it was as good as CM Punk's pipe bomb in, what was it, the beginning of July of 2011, right before when he cut the, promo in the Thomas Mack Center, the original pipe bomb. It was up there. Paul Heyman, talked about UFC on WWE TV. He said to unify the WWE World Title with the UFC World Title, bringing up Floyd Mayweather. That was great when he said, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are still put together or 10 pounds lighter than you, Brock. Paul Heyman was coming out he said, look what Brock Lesnar did. Look what he did in 2002. He beat The Rock, and Dwayne Johnson went straight to Hollywood. He's like, he didn't say we. I keep saying we, but I tell people about the promo. He said he just didn't beat The Undertaker last year. He killed him to the point where Bray Wyatt's got to resurrect him. I mean, it's just, Paul Heyman's so good. And then he just said John Cena, suplex, John Cena, suplex, John Cena, suplex, John Cena, suplex. I mean, okay, granted, Brock Lesnar's only had what? Since he's won the title, he's fought John Cena at Night of Champions. I'm just talking after SummerSlam where I did that great, you know, I exploded, went crazy. I was on the radio in Philadelphia and Baltimore, you know what I mean? And after Lesnar beat Cena, I went fucking crazy. Excuse my language, I'm trying not to use that word. What do you call it? I went crazy. Because I was happy, you know what I mean? I was happy. I like Brock. I always liked Brock, you know what I mean? I like Brock since he first came in. I mean, he is one in a million. Just like China and the Divas, or women, whatever you want to call it, she's 1 in a million. Brock Lesnar's 1 in a million. I mean, and for other people that have shows on here, and critics all over the world, oh, he's not there all the time. I do agree he does need to be there more. That's no doubt. Now, to wrestle every Monday night and to be there every Monday night, no. No, I think that's what makes Brock Lesnar special. But not being there for a month. I mean, you figure at the Night of Champions, he didn't put the title back on the line until the Royal Rumble. So from October to the end of January, he didn't put the title on the line. He might have came out maybe came out 2-3 times between that time. I mean, you got to. I mean, at least show. I mean, I could see not wrestling. I could see not wrestling to just wrestle on every pay-per-view if you're the champion. If you're the world champion, I could see that. But at least every other week, you know, be on one of the shows. Be on Raw or SmackDown. If it's only for 5 minutes, you know what I mean? You are the champion. You know what I mean? But I have no problem with Brock Lesnar being champion. And there's a rumor that is going around that if he stays with WWE, he doesn't want to drop the belt. But the big thing is what it all is. And this is why, you know, last year with Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker, wasn't the Undertaker didn't mind it? But like in the past, WrestleMania 21, he wanted Randy Orton to beat him. Randy said no. You know what I mean? At WrestleMania 23, he wanted Batista to beat him. Batista said no. 24, he wanted Edge. Edge said no. I have too much respect for you. Shawn Michaels, it was planned, you know, the first one, Undertaker will win. The second one, Shawn was originally supposed to win, but Shawn was just done with his career. He just said, I want to go out and have a great match. And that was a good match, but they can't compare to the first one. You know what I mean? But it was a good match. The second WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels Undertaker. You know what I mean? And then he wanted Punk to end it. He wanted Triple H to end it. You know what I mean? Triple H said no. Punk said no. And finally, it comes to a guy he really was skeptical on. If you look at The Undertaker, they talk about it. He didn't mind, but it wasn't his pick. He picked other people before him, like Edge, HBK. Right off the bat, it should have been HBK that second time. And then maybe the next night on Raw, HBK comes out and says, I retire. That's the way it should have went down. HBK should have had that last win at WrestleMania 26. But the whole plan was, okay, the reason Vince didn't switch anything up this year and give, you know, the IWC fans what they want and put Daniel Bryan in there or put a Ziggler in there or even an Ambrose, you know what I mean? I think it was strictly because they had to build the next big star. You know what I mean? And by Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker last year, this is what was the rumor that was pitched to The Undertaker, that Brock's going to beat you. You know, and originally Brock was supposed to fight Daniel Bryan last year at SummerSlam. And that match, the way it was booked with Cena and Lesnar at SummerSlam, how Lesnar just destroyed him, that was supposed to be Daniel Bryan. They just kept the booking the same way. Brock Lesnar just destroyed Cena. It wasn't Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan got hurt and had to relinquish the title. Cena won it in Money in the Bank. And you all know what happened. And then Brock destroyed him. But that was supposed to be Daniel Bryan. Now, if that match was booked maybe 2 months ahead of time, it probably would have been a better match. And Cena probably would have put on a little better offense. You know what I mean? But he got squashed. Where at Night of Champions, it kind of looked stupid. He came back and actually fought great. And Seth Rollins had to screw the match up. I mean, that made no sense. But what was pitched to The Undertaker was, Brock's going to beat you. And then, you know, we're building up Roman Reigns. He's big. The fans can catch on to him. Of course, Vince probably said, you know, he's pretty, you know. And Stephanie probably said, you know, the guy's cute. Because, you know, let's face it, Vince likes the pretty guys, you know. I don't agree with his Shield outfit. I think he should lose that. You know what I mean? It's still, every time he comes out of the crowd, I still think of Seth and Dean's going to be behind him in the Shield. You know what I mean? By the way, good DVD to watch, Destruction of the Shield. Great DVD. And I think he said we have to build our next big star to The Undertaker. And we're going to have Brock beat you. Brock's going to be the champion next year at WrestleMania, and he's going to face Roman Reigns. Because if you know, before WrestleMania last year, they were talking about Roman Reigns is going to be the next big star. So we all knew this. And Vince stuck to his guns. You know, he didn't care about the IWC this year. And the yes movement, yes, it's not as big as last year. And he's fading out. He's not winning the Intercontinental title. Going on target right now, it's the reason they're tossing around like a hot potato. For one, Wade Barrett, he's not injured, but one bad slip, one bad fall, he could be out for 6 months to a year. It can maybe end his career. So to put Wade Barrett even in a ladder match is risky. You know what I mean? So he's not holding on to the title. Right now, the biggest ovations when they're getting the titles, you know how they're playing hot potato, is Dean Ambrose and R-Truth are getting the biggest ovations, and they're one of the two favorites to win. There's a rumor that Stardust, you know, he might win it because he is the one, as Cody Rhodes, who brought back that original Intercontinental title. Remember, he brought it back as Cody Rhodes. You know, he brought it back as the original Intercontinental title, not that little Attitude Era title, even though it was the Attitude Era Intercontinental title. And the Attitude Era, all you needed was the WWE title. You didn't need no other titles. You know what I mean? The Attitude Era was just great in itself. As long as you had the one belt and you had Stone Cold, The Rock, or Triple H, or whoever the champion was during the Attitude Era, or HBK, you know what I mean? That was it. The IC title didn't mean much then. But now it's starting to mean something again. And that's good. And the US title too. But for all you Cena lovers out there, and I respect Cena, Cena is not winning at WrestleMania. Rusev will continue with the belt. I don't know what kind of match it's going to be. It's going to be a gimmick match. I don't think it's going to be an I Quit match. I think it's not going to be a submission match because that's what it was before. I think it's going to be a last man standing match. Rusev's going to go over. This is due to John Cena's heel turn, which is going to happen. But it's playing so far ahead. They've got it planned for next year. But you're seeing it change. He had an interview. He had an interview in USA Today, March 16th, 2015. It could have been Friday, but he said, my boss, he didn't even say Vince McMahon. He said, my boss even said, I have to change and I have to come up with a character quick and real quick if I don't want to be in the mid-card. Because, and he said they're going through a youth movement, kind of how they did when Hulk Hogan was on his way out. And he said, I still got a lot to give. I'm only going to be 38, and he is. He's my age. I'm 9 days older than him. I'm April 14th, he's April 23rd, Cena. And basically he said, you know, he has a new character in store, and that it's going to come out, and it's something that it's going to shake the wrestling world to the ground. He said it's going to be unbelievable. He said the new character that I'm going to have, and he's not going to paint his face or become this evil guy. He said nothing like that. No, he said no. It's going to be a character change, not an image change. You know what I mean? I mean, basically he'll maybe change it up a little, but he'll still be wearing the shorts and everything. But he said it's going to be a real heel, where the fans, the WWE Universe, including myself, will cheer in the beginning, but you're going to learn to hate him, he said. To really hate him. He said, I'll still make wishes. He said, remember, people, this is my job. I still love every one of you, but this is my job. I got to do it. And I'm looking forward to it. But it's not going to happen until 2016. You're going to see signs of it all through this year with him starting to lose a lot. And it's going to start to think that I'm getting older. You know, maybe he's not going to say I'm getting older. Maybe I got to start cheating to win. And you're going to see that. You know what I mean? And it's going to progress to finally WrestleMania 32 with 100,000 people in Dallas, Texas. There goes the heel turn. And WrestleMania 32 next year will always be remembered as John Cena went heel. Just like Hulk Hogan did at Bash at the Beach in 1996. But the John Cena heel turn is coming. It might be a year away. But this whole year, you're going to have springboards to it. Also, Triple H and Sting, I think it's going to be a great match. I don't think it's going to steal the show. I hope it's not the last match. I hope they go with Brock Lesnar. And to hear what Paul Heyman said, if Brock Lesnar gets screwed any way, like the Montreal screw job, anybody involved in it is not only going to leave WrestleMania hurt, they're not going to leave Levi's Stadium alive if Brock Lesnar gets screwed. So Vince McMahon, I wouldn't screw Brock Lesnar. He's not Bret Hart. Don't screw Brock Lesnar. This is Joey G. Tune in to Raw. I'll be doing some play-by-play tonight. This is Joey G. I'll be starting to do a lot of things, timelines on years, but this is Joey G. I'm out. Watch roll. Peace.